bringing the people behind our food to life.
Vegetarianism has been around forever. I mean, really, since the Greeks, it has a long history. For me, I never really chose to be a vegetarian, and I've never actually described myself as a vegetarian, but I did live in a Buddhist community for 20 years. And as a community, we were vegetarian, and I cooked a lot in that community. I started Green's Restaurant from that community. And so that's what I was given to work with, were the plant foods, and it was fine with me. I'm not really sure where the idea for vegetable literacy came from. Was there an aha moment? I'm not sure that there was, but because I'm thinking about plants a lot, and I wanted to garden, and over a period of years I had arranged my life so that I could garden. You have to stay home. You have to make a commitment to it. You can't be traveling around and have a garden. Once I started doing that, I started really seeing plants in a very fresh way. And things would come up, and I'd find myself observing and asking questions. And can you eat this? Can you eat that? Isn't it funny that all these cotyledons for all these different radishes and turnips look exactly the same? I should have labeled them, Just things came up that related to the plant world, and out of that, the idea of becoming more literate about vegetables. Not just that they're pretty, not just that this is how you use them, but the principles that unite vegetables into families and herbs and flowers and so forth really started to intrigue me, and vegetable literacy was the result of that. Everything in the world is divided into families. We are members of families, and you'll often hear somebody say, oh, she has her father's nose, or her mother's chin, or her aunt's fiery temperament, or there's certain attributes, both physical and emotional in a way, ascribed to people who are related by family. Well, it's the same is true in the plant world. And I'm not a botanist, so I had to figure it out. But my father was a botanist. My brother's a botanist, and I asked my father a long time ago, I said, how do you know what plants are related? And he used I guess what's regarded now as an older means of categorizing, but which is morphology. He said by the flowers. The shapes of the flowers, the design of the flowers will tell you what's related. And it's pretty much true. I mean, the Asteraceae or daisy family, all the flowers look like daisies in one form or another, whether it's a tiny little daisy on the tip of a lettuce that's going about to go to seed, or whether it's a daisy itself, or whether it's the bloom of a scorzonera or a salsify or whatever. They make thistles and daisies and composite flowers. Cruciferous plants, the broccoli, all of those, cauliflower, kale, so forth, they all make cross-shaped flowers. So you begin to look at the flowers, then maybe you look at the leaves and you see, gee, they're sort of similar shapes too. Not always, but often. And so I just started to look at families and who's in them, and what vegetables, what flowers, what herbs, what that are common to our lives. This isn't exotic material. I love the umbellifers too. In a way, that's what started me writing the book, was seeing carrots in bloom and how absolutely beautiful those flowers are. And of course, that form repeats itself, but in very different sizes, in the tiny little chervil blossoms or enormous angelica blossoms, where the flower is like big as my head, I love lovage, which is also in that family. There's lots of herbs in that family, as well as kind of workhorse vegetables, celery, carrots, parsnips, celery roots. So I'm rather fond of the umbellifers. And they're fun to grow, too. The garden was a huge inspiration for this book. It really brought me up close, to plants and how they grow or don't grow, or what bugs they attract, and where they like to be in the garden. And it kind of blew my world open. It doesn't mean I'm a good gardener. I consider myself a really beginning gardener, and and a mediocre gardener, probably at best. So this is not a book that will teach you how to garden, but hopefully it will suggest some ideas of how to look and how to just observe things. The garden taught me a lot about looking at plants, and then you bring them in the kitchen, and this is also a cookbook, so hopefully that sense of looking and asking and wondering follows you into the kitchen with it.